He's not even reading the comic books. He's not doing his research because they're coming up with completely new characters. The villains, the daughters of Atlas in this movie, who are the main antagonists, aren't even anywhere in the comics. They're completely made up for this movie. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Isaac Joel, right here at the Critics with Agents of Fandom, and today we are talking about the latest DC film, Shazam, Fury of the Gods. I have been anticipating talking about this movie for a while with you guys, if I'm being completely honest. If you don't realize, I kind of don't really talk a lot about these Marvel DC projects or reviews or break them down. A lot of my reviews are kind of just, whether it be other bigger blockbuster films or smaller indie films, I kind of have my eyes on a lot of different projects. But when it comes to these superhero films, there has to be something that needs to be addressed with these, okay? And I think I'm going to say something that not a lot of people are going to want to hear, and brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. But I think Martin Scorsese was onto something all those years ago about that superhero fatigue, about things kind of getting watered down a little bit. I think the crazy old bastard was onto something, okay? Because listen, I'm a comic book fan, okay? I grew up and watched all these comic book movies, all the TV shows, the cartoons, blah, 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 blah. What would I got to do? Slit my throat and prove to myself, to you guys, that I'm a fan? No. Listen, I am on board with these superhero films. I am on board with films in general. There has to be this duality between both of them, and we are missing the mark ever since Endgame. Ever since Avengers Endgame came out, the bar was set high, and everything has just been so low, whether it's VFX artists not having enough time, or it's the case where a studio is constantly bringing in new management and constantly replacing actors or changing up the timelines or wanting to do this or that. It is getting really, really frustrating, and it's always been frustrating. It's always been out of hand, but I think it's more out of hand now than ever. I haven't even started reviewing this film yet, but I feel like I have to bring and address all of this up as a wall, as a barrier, before I can even review Shazam: Fury of the Gods. So I think we have an issue with all of these actors, directors, producers, whoever the hell they are in Hollywood. They are way too attached to social media. And at first it was cool, because they were able to reach their audience, they were able to answer questions, yada yada. Like, okay, sure, that was like all fun and games at the beginning, but now it's getting to a point where they are constantly tweeting and replying back to the fans and like hurling insults or defending or jumping to defense right when a movie comes out. Like, dudes, does anybody not know how to be a gentleman anymore? These executive directors turned whatever CEOs not know how to just play it cool? Can you guys just be cool about it? Can you just do your reset? Do you have to make these announcement videos where you talk about Shazam is on his own little world, so he fits perfectly in with what we're doing? And then you have a completely random connections with, oh my God, let's get into it. Shazam: Fury of the Gods. So I did not love the first movie. I think over time, it's grown on me. It has. And there are incredible, relatable themes within the Shazam comic and story, okay? You got a teenage boy who is in the system, Billy Batson, and he gets these amazing god powers where he's able to fly and he's wise, but he's still a child at heart, man. This is something that should be right up everybody's alley. This is something that is like on the level of Spider-Man. Okay, this should be the superhero for the next generation. The first movie was good. It was okay. Okay. It had this nice family adventure connection to it where you're able to take your kids and your family to go see it. And there may be some, horror or real, adult sequences, but nevertheless, it still has its balance. It is still having fun. It is a boy transforming into Zachary Levi and fighting bad guys. Like that's awesome. I'm on board. I love the pitch. Okay, the first movie was a good build to it. It was a good foundation onto it. I'm getting really sick and tired of movies about the title character who is still figuring out how to be that character. It is the same old case that we have seen time and time again. It is the same CGI fight sequences that we've seen time and time again. It is a lot of flat, color grade. Just this whole movie needed more time to be edited. It's very obvious, and we can say that about all of these Marvel movies and all these whatever. We're not talking about that right now. We're critiquing this one at the moment. This one makes some choices. This film makes some really dicey choices, and I think it didn't really help me. As someone who wanted to come in and like this movie, as I walk out the theater, I check my phone, I go on Reddit, and I see that the director, David F. Sandberg, is out there responding to people on Reddit and telling them like, yeah, I know, I knew this was coming, but hey, I got my paycheck. I got paid up front, so don't even worry about it. Don't even sweat it. I'm all good. Like, dude, can you guys not give time to market? I was watching interviews of this guy, okay, talk to interviewers about the movie, and I understand he's got COVID. I understand he's sick. This guy does not seem enthusiastic about the movie at all. At all. This is the same type of vibes that I was getting with the cast of Dungeons and Dragons, watching them. And I watch these interviews for all these movies that come out because I want to see how these people are connecting to it. If this is an actual passion project, or is this just a paycheck? Now, I understand you got to get paid. I understand that. But, oh my God, I wish people were more careful with their projects. I feel bad for the kids in this movie because they had all the potential in the world. Everybody in this movie has all the potential in the world. And I just feel like they have no idea what movie they're in. David F. Sandberg really, really doubles down on the horror. Now, I love horror. I'm over here wearing my Lost Boys t-shirt. I love rated R movies. I love things that try and find that line, that edge, okay? This had me paranoid in the theater. This had me like really, really kind of just not wanting to even look at the screen at some moments, and not in that way where it's like kind of cool and cringy or like Scream, where there's kids in the theater. There's families in the theater. There are children who are like freaking out at what the heck is happening on screen. I can't process what's happening on screen. They make a really dicey choice to just not have the kid Billy Batson in this movie for a majority of it. I think maybe he gets like 5, 6, 7 minutes of screen time, and those are good minutes. Don't get me wrong. I like this kid. He is a good actor. I think all the kids are good actors. I think the parents are good actors. I think the whole cast is spot on. I think they were casted accordingly, honestly, even down to Zachary Levi, man. Seriously, I give them the credit. But the problem isn't them. The problem is a director that doesn't want to do this movie and is stretching so high that he's not even reading the comic books. He's not even reading the comic books. He's not doing his research because they're coming up with completely new characters. The villains, the daughters of Atlas in this movie, who are the main antagonists, aren't even anywhere in the comics. They're completely made up for this movie. I understand you got to do that every now and then with side characters or maybe a librarian or a pedestrian on the street, but you're talking about creating an entirely new villain. What did they not have on their roster? They own the studio. They own the franchise. Was there nothing else? Oh, that's right, because Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson did not want to come on board. That's right. This wasn't even supposed to be Fury of the Gods. This was supposed to be Shazam v. Black Adam, but because of The Rock's ego, we got that crazy movie. And now look at what happened with The Rock's franchise. Look what became of Black Adam. Black Adam is history. That was supposed to be what changing the hierarchy of the DC universe. It would never be the same again. Look where we're at now. I don't believe anything these people tell me, guys. And I think you guys should be on the fence too. This is a warning. This is me telling you guys, like, I don't trust these dudes. I don't. Listen, I love James Gunn. I love the Guardians movies. I think Guardians 3 is going to be that masterpiece. I'm going to be on here talking all about that when that comes out. I already know it. I love his films in the past. I love his earlier work. I really do. I was excited about him coming on board, about a director coming on board and being the voice of the people. We're not going to be seeing results for a long time, guys. And and it's always been that case with this studio. It just is not working out with them. Gal Gadot showing up at the very end was so off-putting, so weird. And in the beginning, in the middle of the film, you have Billy Batson going to bed, having this weird dream of him being on a date with Wonder Woman's body double. You don't even see her face. She doesn't speak at all. Zachary Levi is doing all the talking. She gets up, leaves, turns around, and boom, it's the Wizard. And it is the most... I thought I was tripping on something hard here. What is going on with these big budget movies doing these weird CGI morph sequences that is supposed to make the audience laugh, but then you have people like me over here that's just so confused and kind of like disturbed at what it is I'm seeing? I think Zachary Levi was a great choice as Shazam. I think they used too much of him in this movie. I would have much rather Shazam be that character that you see every now and then, only when he needs to come out and fight. I don't mind spending more time getting to know Billy as a character and how he's juggling with about to turn 18, about to be out of the system and about to be thrown out and not dealing with his emotions and his trauma. But all of that is just kind of thrown out the window when it's Zachary Levi just being Mr. Funny Guy. And it sucks that because these guys are so active online that we can no longer, it's starting to feel like we can no longer give our honest to God opinion thinking that it's personal. Listen, man, this isn't personal. Not at all. We love what it is that you guys stand for, but there is clearly an issue with the chain of the system, man. I just don't think David F. Sandberg should have been the guy to continue directing these movies or should have even been brought on board to begin with. What is with them and bringing these horror directors, James Wan, David F. Sandberg, what's with them bringing these guys in to do DC movies and they clearly don't fit in? And that's okay. That's okay. It's not a diss. This isn't a dig on them, man, because they do what they do best. And this isn't that, man. You need to have people that come in here with passion, that actually care about these characters, that actually want to see them progress and see where they're going to be eventually, even if they're not connecting with all of these other bigger superheroes. Honest to God, I think the DC universe should just stand, all of these movies should just stand on their own. And it's working with the Batman. You're getting into chapter 2. It's working with the Joker. You're getting part 2. You got Lady Gaga coming in as Harley Quinn. You get to see new actors, new directors, new visions come in and kind of give an auteur look at these characters, and they're actually reading the effing comics. They actually know what it is. They actually are passionate about whether it's not the comics, it's the material. It's the message that they're trying to get across. And you got to give those guys hats off. And yeah, sure, what? Are you trying to say that Shazam is supposed to be like Joker and Batman? No, absolutely not, man. I'm not trying to say that they're supposed to be dark and gritty and serious. But I'm saying that there should be actual care and time and consideration put into this for an audience that is going to show up and want to try and connect. My God. Oh my God, this movie frustrates me to the core. What else is there to talk about? The Daughters of Atlas are terrifying in the beginning at first, and then they just become goofy, and everything just becomes very predictable one after another. They don't even look the same. Is that what, they all had different fathers? I guess, whatever. But they don't even look the same. They don't even feel related. Lucy Liu did not want to be in this movie. It is so obvious that she does not want to be in this movie as she's flying around on a green screen dragon giving half-assed lines. It is so clear that Helen Mirren doesn't have a clue what is happening, and she's just like, whatever, I'll just say whatever it is that I gotta say here, and let this just be over with, because all of this, the weight of everything, is just on Zachary Levi. By the end of the movie, all of them lose their powers, which leads to the absolute most atrocious product placement ad I've ever seen for Skittles. Like, what the... I literally, when this scene popped up, I wanted to just walk out into the lobby and buy a bag of Skittles. It felt like the movie had completely paused in order to play this parody sketch commercial of Shazam. It no longer felt like the movie. It felt like like when Ant-Man does those like stupid Heineken commercials, for like the Super Bowl, and it's actually, Paul Rudd, and the CGI is kind of wonky and the story is like stupid, and you're like, okay, whatever. They promoted their movie, but whatever. This entire film feels like a giant commercial for something that I don't even know. What, Gatorade? Skittles? I have no idea what they were thinking with this. They had their heads up their asses, that's for damn sure. Let's talk about the things that I actually did enjoy about this movie. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. I can't think of one goddamn thing. This next part is going to be a little bit tiptoeing around because I really just don't know how to address it. But hey, they put it out there for me to talk about it, so why the hell not? So you have a young man, a young boy that's at the orphanage that has these powers with them, who is looking at men's magazines and checking out dudes on the baseball game and is like checking them out, and for absolutely no reason. Yeah, sure, towards the end of the movie when shit hits the fan and everything's going crazy, out of nowhere he confesses to his family that he is a homosexual, which, hey man, like props to you, man. And they all turn to him and they're going like, yeah, hey, we know. Yeah, we know about that. Yeah, no, not a big deal. And then, oh, okay, and then they continue on with the movie. Never again does it come back up. Never does it have any actual weight. Not the movie's not even like focused on that character. Maybe if Billy Batson was dealing with that, sure, you could get away with that because you have your main character that is dealing with these emotions, but it is so shoehorned. It is so shoehorned that it feels almost just like disrespectful. It just feels like, okay, you are pandering to your audience. You are spoon feeding your audience. You don't even have the decency to look at them as common, intelligent beings that are going to judge this movie off of what our standards are for superhero movies today, man. I think the bar has been set so low with Morbius, Shazam, Fury, the Gods. I guarantee you guys this movie's not going to make any money. No one's going to go check it out. No one's going to be talking about this. We're not going to be seeing Zachary. I promise you, 2 weeks from now, Zachary Levi is going to be posting a video on Instagram of him crying, talking about how he lost the job at Shazam. And yeah, I'm calling that out. I'll put money on that because you got James Gunn over here saying, oh yeah, I talked to Ben Affleck. We're good friends. He is definitely interested in directing a movie for us. And then you got Ben Affleck going, absolutely not. I want nothing to do with what they're doing over there. It's not my style. It's not my taste. I'm good. What one guy is saying is not matching up to what another guy is saying. We all should be afraid for our lives when it comes to these movies. Like, listen, Marvel's got its issues, and I'm going to be addressing those issues one of these days. I promise. But this is me calling out DC. Regardless of what comes after this, I think just everything is going to be crumbling down. None of these movies are going to be connecting the way that they want them to connect. You're confusing your audience. You're favoriting certain characters, whether you like it or not. It is just a mess to begin with, and the whole thing should just be cut, like done, man. I actually don't know what the solution is to DC's problem. I really don't. But I think, for starters, get off Twitter. I think that's a good start, for sure. Listen, I'm very curious as to what you guys think about this movie. Did you love Fury of the Gods? Is this the best DC movie, the best superhero movie you've ever seen? Or is this just rock bottom for you guys? Let me know your thoughts in the description below, or tweet at me at It's Isaac Joel. I have been your host right here at the Critics with Agents of Fandom. Shazam! I'll catch you next time.